بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First and foremost, would like to apologize for being late today. There was a Maulid earlier, and then after that, I actually left early, left around 7:50 to get back for this class. But my mother told me to run some errands, so I became late lah because my mom told me to run some errands. So Alhamdulillah. And I didn't want to cancel because next week night, right, is the 12th of Rabiul Awal. So I might have class. I'm not so sure if I might have class or not. Right, but it is the 12th of Rabiul Awal. Usually it is a day of Rabiul Awal. There's a lot of majlis. The night also usually there's a lot of majlis, but I'll see how lah. And then, inshallah. I don't like canceling so many times, but already last week we canceled because of Hababa being in town. And then today I'm not feeling well, but I don't want to cancel so many weeks in a row. Yeah. Okay, so Bismillah. We'll start us. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi fi kulli lahazatin abada ala ni'amillahi wa abdalihi. اللهم آتنا من لدنك رحمة وعلمنا من لدنك علما سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نوينا تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية رحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم ألهمنا علما نفقه به أوامرك ونواهيك وارزقنا فهم به ناجيك يا أرحم الراحمين إنما الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم أكرمنا بالتقوى وجبنا بالعافية يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم إنا نستودعك ما قرأناه وما نقرأه في هذا المجلس وما قبله وما بعده فاحفظه علينا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أكرمنا بالنور الفهم وأخرجنا من بعد حفظك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يا من مقاليد الأمور كلها بيده وإليه يرجع الأمر كله يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا فتاح يا عليم افتح علي صحبه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي كذا أحبابي أبدا. وارزقنا كمال فتوح العارف والفقه في الدين مع الإخلاص والصدق واليقين والانتفاع خيرات الدارين وعلوم الأولين والآخرين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين آمين. الحمد لله الحمد لله. الحمد لله. Is my voice oh sorry, I'm not plugged in. Realize I was not plugged in. Hmm. Sorry. Is this better? The whole time just now I wasn't plugged in. Just talking to my computer, I guess. Okay, Bismillah. Let me continue. With our book on necessary reminders for every woman about the affairs of her religion, written by the great scholar Alawi al-Husseini al-Hadrami Shafi'i. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit. I think it's breaking up because my internet is not strong. Not, and I don't know what to do about that. I'm not so sure what to do when my internet's not strong. Yeah. How? Better now? The Sayyidina Muhammad. Not this one. Is it this one? Cannot connect to this network. Not this. Is this okay? No. No. Okay, wait. My internet off itself. Bismillah. Okay. Now is it okay? The internet disconnected itself just now. So it was I think there was something wrong with the internet. Okay, so the internet decided to fix itself. Alhamdulillah. Then you selawat ni the internet fix itself. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Bismillah. Let's continue with our we didn't even do anything, right? We just sat there, selawat, and then the internet decides to off and on itself. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Continuing with our class, right? So we are actually why did I open like this? Sila. How to close this thing? Eh? How did I go to the okay, tamam. Okay. So those of you who had attended the lessons by my teacher Hababa Maryam in the that is the fourth section, right? I actually already translated all the way until here. I finished translating. Right, because I thought she would cover like at least 3 parts, but she only covered 1 part. But if you were there last week, she covered the fourth section, the rights of parents. We're actually approaching it. Like we're actually approaching the fourth section. we're coming to the end of this is the third section, right, on Solat. Right. So we're actually coming to the fourth section. So inshallah I will transfer my translation. I did it on a Google Drive, right? So I'll transfer my translation here. Right. And then inshallah there'll be it's just basically the book ends like this, right? These are the five parts that has to do with the inward purification of for women, right? For women, for human for specifically for women. Right, rights of parents, rights of husband, blame of physical purification, encouragement on abstaining from worldly delights and desiring the rewards of the hereafter, warnings against backbiting, tale bearing, and other sins of the tongue. Right, so he identified five things that basically for us to work on. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ability. Right, so we reached here. Where's my book? Sila. Once I once my teacher comes along, I don't know where all my books go, and I don't know where I put everything because I use my book to translate for her. Or to translate for her. So now I don't have my book. Where's my book? Where's my book? Allah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Allah, this is what happens lah. I don't know where's my book. Okay, tak apalah. I take another book. Allah. You see my tazkirah? Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Um, my internet is still not okay. My computer, I don't know why. So then I just got on the on. Yeah. So now I'm using my phone, trying to get into the internet. Not sure why today the internet is acting up. Maybe because of the rain, huh? Alright.
Salam, Ustazah. We can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. You cannot hear me. Bismillah.
We can hear now. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Okay, Bismillah. You just noticed the messages. I didn't see the messages at all. Okay. Okay. Right. So standing for the compulsory prayers, right? So she says here, al-qiyam fil fardi wajib ala al-qadira. Right. So standing for the compulsory prayers, is compulsory for the one who is able. Right. And as we mentioned earlier on, right, when I went through this integral, right, as to the different types of illnesses, right, and what you can do, right? So it is not that, automatically you just don't stand, right? But you just have to see what it is that you can't do, right? What exactly it is that you can't do. Right. So like certain illnesses, like it's just really difficult to even stand up. And I know of people, even when they got the COVID, right? And some people, the COVID hit them harder than other people. And I know of people, when they got hit by the COVID, right? They cannot even lift their head off the pillow, right? They can't lift their head off their pillow, right? So like they have to do the wudu, in bed, and then they literally they pray lying down, right? Because every time they bring their head off the pillow, they become giddy, right? And then they faint, right? So this kind of people, of course, you're in an illness, but you're unable, right? So you can't like force yourself to get up, right? Because you try and force it to get up, you will collapse, right? So everyone to know, what is your body able to do, right? So usually, people who don't stand up at all, right? It is usually they have some severe illness in their knee joints, right? Or they have some severe illness in their, in themselves that is making them faint, right? And that is some of the reasons why people do not stand up and they pray. Now, other than that, if you have like other forms of illnesses, if you're able to stand and stand, right? And that is better for you, right? And so فأما في صلاة النفل, right? Sorry, and as for sunnah prayers, right, it is not compulsory, right, for her to stand, right, right, and she is allowed to pray her sunnahs seated, even if absolutely no reason, right, even if she is able to stand, right, right, and for the one who sits for no reason, right, she gets half the reward of the one standing, right? So usually, sitting in during sunnahs, right? You usually will do it if you're like really tired, and then like you just want to get up after you finish your prayer. You don't want to get up and do like a few more rakats. Right? So usually that's the case, right? Why you will be sitting down and praying the sunnahs for no reason, right? So usually the reason is because you're tired, lah. You're tired or you're just like aching and it's so difficult to get up, that kind of thing. Right? But you're able to stand. You are able to stand, but it's just that you're just so tired about it. And so rather than missing your entire sunnahs altogether, right, you just, okay lah, I will just pray sitting down, get half the reward. But like Hababa Mariam, she will always say, well, when you do that, and this has happened to me every single time, ever since I heard her say this, it happens to me every single time. She said, okay, you know what? If you're gonna sit down and pray, right, because you're saying to yourself, at least half is better than nothing, right? So at least I might as well, pray while sit down. Then she was like, then you're cheating yourself, right? Because how hard is it to really stand? Right? Is it that hard to stand, or you're just being lazy? Right. So she will say, if you're gonna spend the amount of time, right, to pray the sunnah prayer seated, you might as well stand and get it full, right? Why you want why you want half the rewards? So you can get the full rewards. So, she will say it in that way. I think those of you who have went for her classes, right, you will be so motivated to do more sunnahs because she talks about sunnah and on top of sunnah and sunnah and sunnah. You know, you get so motivated to do more and more sunnahs. Right, but mashallah, mashallah. Right, so she'll say like, you know, and then you're just wasting your time, you know, trying to do half, you're shortchanging yourself. Whereas you should do, you know, you should stand and get the full reward. Right? Why are you shortchanging yourself? And then whenever that happens to me and I think to myself, you know, I'm gonna pray the sunnah sitting down. And then I think to myself, if I'm gonna do the sunnah sitting down, I'm gonna spend some time doing them. I must just stand up. Right? And I end up standing up. You know, mashallah. Just this kind of thoughts, right? It just pushes you like why are you being stingy on yourself, right? Why are you being lazy? Like why can't you just push yourself a bit more? Just a bit more. Push yourself a bit more, just a bit more. Like why, you know, like why can't you do this? And then you're losing out on all these rewards. Like why are you being, you know, mean to your own self, that kind of thing. And that is true. You know, people who shortchange, you know, themselves from worship, right? They're being mean to themselves, right? They're being unkind to themselves, right? By denying themselves of worship, right? Whereas we are created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, فإن لم تكن قادرة على القيام بأن لحقتها به مشقة شديدة صلت وهي قاعدة. And so, if she is truly unable to pray standing, right, in that some severe difficulty comes with it, then it is okay for her to pray seated. And here it's not half the reward, right? That is not half the reward. Why? Right? Because she did have an excuse, right? She was unable to stand. So therefore the sitting takes the place of standing, and therefore she gets the full reward. All right. فإن لم تستطيع القعود صلت مضطجعة على جنبها الأيمن وهو الأفضل. And if she is unable to pray seated, then for her to lie on only on the side, is it? I don't know. Lie on her right side. And for her to lie on her right side, and this is better. Okay, and then ويجوز على جنبها الأيسر ويستقبل القبلة في الحالتين بصدرها. تمام. Right, and it is permissible for her to lie on her left side if she wants to. Right, on her left side, and for her to face the Qibla, right, with her chest for both situations. Right, both situations meaning lying on the right, lying on the left. That's what it means, yeah. Both situations. Right. So Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay. All right. So let me just explain this part. Right. So Allah. Right. So just to be very clear about this, I don't know why my pen doesn't work anymore. My apa? My laptop pen doesn't work anymore. Okay lah, never mind. I use mouse. Try and do this again. Then I just work. Okay lah. Okay. So right. So if this is, for example, if this way is the Qibla, right? Okay, this is the Qibla, and she wants to pray lying down. Right. So therefore what she has to do is her face is here. Okay. Like she's wearing her prayer garment. Right, she's be covered in the prayer garment. And then she's lying down in it, right? Okay. This will be her hands. All right. So which means that she prays this way. Okay, so the chest faces the Qibla, Kaaba. Okay. Right, the chest faces the Qibla. Right. As simple as that. Right. So it's best if she can be on her right. If she's on her right here. Otherwise, she can be on her left. Okay, if she's unable to be propped up, on her side, and some people they get so sick they really can't even be propped up on the side, then it is permissible for them to lie on their back. But if you lie on their back, right? When you lie on their back, it's coming in the text here. Right? When you lie on their back, the first case scenario for them lying down on their back. Let me just draw her hijab. Okay, is that for someone to put a pillow, okay, beneath her. All right, and she does this, right? So she's praying here. This is her hands. Okay, she's praying like that. Okay, if let's say she cannot even be set up, right? She can't even be set up. Right? Maybe some really terrible thing happened, and you can't even put a pillow beneath her, to sit up. Because here you see here her chest is still her chest is in the qibla, right? It's still her chest facing the Qibla. No matter what, it's always the chest facing the Qibla. This is chest facing the Qibla. Here, the chest facing the Qibla. Okay, if let's say she's unable to be propped up like this, right? But she is like completely flat on her back. She's completely flat on her back like this. She's wearing a hijab, telekung. Right, so in this case, right, when she's completely flat on her back, what needs to be done, right, is what needs to be done is that her feet be propped up. Her feet be propped up like this. Right, so her feet they're facing the Qibla. Okay, the soles of her feet are propped up. Right, she's propping up her feet. Right, the soles of her feet are facing the Qibla. Right, and that counts for her facing the Qibla. Right, so of course the most ideal is for her to stand. If she can't stand, then for her to sit. If she can't sit, then for her to lie down on her right, if not on the left. If not, lying down, but the pillow, beneath her to bring her chest towards the Qibla. If she really can't do that, then lie flat on her back, right? And then with the feet propped up like this, and then the soles of the feet facing the Qibla. This is what the ways of prayer. Right, and mashallah, I've seen people in this entire COVID episode making use of all these ways of prayer. And they actually just resort to this because some people and my own family members, right, people whose COVID is so scarily difficult, right, that they end up praying like this, like lying down on their back. Right, they can't even get up. One of my relatives helpers, when she was having her COVID, she was 20 days she was in bed and could not get up, like 20 days. Right, so really it differs from person to person how severe this illness is. And Allahu Alam, it's like it doesn't seem something that is natural that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would create naturally. But it seems like one of those, messed up experiments. Allahu Alam. So anyway, um uh okay, so in both situations نعم so صلت فإن لم تقدر على الاضطجاع صلت مستلقية على ظهرها وتستقبل القبلة بوجهها وتضع وسادة تحت الرأس. فإن لم تستطع استقبلت القبلة بأخمص قدميها القدمين وتؤمى بالركوع والسجود. Okay, tamam. Right, so Allah. Okay, so right, so it says here, right, and so if she is unable, right, to lie down, right, if she is unable to lie on her side, then for her to lie on her back, right, to lie on her back, facing the Qibla with her face. Here you see the face, right? But it's actually the chest, right? Face also can lah. With her face, facing the Qibla with her face, um, and to and to place a pillow underneath her head. And if she is unable to, if she is unable to, and if she's unable to, right, then face the Qibla, right, with the soles of her feet. Or what's the feet covered lah, right? And to nod, right, during ruku, and to nod, sorry, during ruku and sujud. Okay? Alright. فإن لم تستطع أجرت الأركان على قلبها ولا يجوز لها ترك الصلاة ما دام أقلها فيها. Right. And if she cannot even do that, then for her to run through the prayer motions in her head. I mean, unable to do anything at all, and run right through her head, right? And right, it is not permissible for her to ever leave the prayer for as long as she has her mind for as long as her mind conscious on it. Spell conscious wrongly. Tamam? Okay? Right. So and it could be that the illness makes a person faint. Right. So if someone like is ill, and this is something for us to take note, right? If you are ill, if you're not well, then and then you force yourself to pray, then you know, like, because you're so not well and you're delirious and you're like half, conscious, and you like, oh, I have to pray Isha, right? And then you force yourself to pray, and half the time you've no clue what in the world you're reciting, right? You don't know what you did Fatiha, you don't know what you did, and before you know it, like you find yourself asleep, right? You don't even know whether you finish praying. Okay, that kind of prayer, right, of course, because your consciousness comes in and out, then it's on you to pray it again. Right? So once you are better, you can pray it again. Right? Because high chances that prayer was not valid, because your consciousness kept coming in and out. So for as long as her mind is in it, all right. And then he says here, وَمِنْ خَطَأ وَمِنْ خَطَأِ الْكَبِيرِ, right, and of the greatest mistakes is, let me just clear this woman. Okay. And of the greatest mistakes, right, is and greatest loss is to leave the prayer when one is sick. Right. So while Allah has lightened for the sick person the matters of purification and prayer. Right. So Allah has made it Allah has made it much easier, right, for the one who's sick. Right. So if they can't do wudu, they can do tayammum, and that is easy for them. And prayer as well. If they can't stand, they can sit, they can lie down, and so on. Right. So someone should never miss their prayer when one is sick. Right, because Allah has made it like on us. Right. And it could be that 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 the particular illness would bring one's death. Right? You don't know if the illness you're going through is going to bring your death. So all the more when you're sick, you should not be leaving your prayers. Right? You should be doing your prayers on time. And if you're doing more prayers because you are sick. Right? I remember, and a person ends up meeting their Lord as a sinner, right? Of someone who has left the prayer, right? And may Allah protect us from that. Right. So it is hence it is compulsory on every ill person to guard over their prayer. Okay, so it's like our prayer for to the best of their ability. To the best of their ability. And it is uh, is on Alhamdulillah. It is on the family of the ill person to remind them. So even if they're in a coma, you're supposed to remind them about the prayer. As the first thing a servant is asked in his grave is his prayer. Right, and so this one you can put it into your wasiat. Into your wasiat, like a wasiat is basically like your words that when you can't speak, this was to speak for you, right? So you can put it into your wasiat and say that if I am ever bedridden, right, then in my wasiat, can my family members wash me, and do wudu for me, inform me you are doing wudu, right? And then so I can make my intentions and then make me face the qibla, right? And then azan around me so I know what prayer it is. Tell me what prayer it is, and then I will pray in my mind. So before you become, in the stage of inshallah, no, never get to that stage. But if it ever happens, someone goes into a vegetable state, unable to communicate anything of their desires, then you write a wasiyat. You write a wasiyat. Like a wasiyat is like your own words as to how to handle yourself. Right? So when you're unable to speak for yourself, this document will inform people of how to handle you, inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah. We finished the section, right? So I think I'll stop there for today lah. I'm just very uh the my cold is coming back. Okay, alhamdulillah. Any questions? Any questions? If there are no questions, we'll stop there for today. I apologize again for all the things that happened in between. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه